You're listening to Family Today with Funmi Johnson.
How many people want to stay out of debt? If you're one of them, you can wave your hands wherever you are. I may not see you, but I'm sure you're seeing yourself and you're saying, okay, enough is enough. I am staying out of debt. For the past few weeks, I've been talking about how to stay out of debt. And I'm saying to you, you can decide today. Now, I'm not saying if you say you're staying out of debt today, that means today is the end. What I'm saying is your journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. I told a young man, I said, stop borrowing. I said, let's do it this way. How much are you owing and how many people? Let's write it down. And then let's structure how you're going to pay them back. And once you're done paying them, don't borrow again. Whatever you need to do, plan it ahead of time. And we followed the process, pay cash or do without. And the person started doing that. It took about 18 months to get out of debt. And from that time, now it's about 3 years till now, the person is not owing anyone. So you can do that. Another one came to me, he became a victim of the loan shark. How do the loan sharks work here in Nigeria? They would say to you, quick cash. So how much do you need? They just get your phone number, your email, your BVN, your whatever. They get all those things. And then they give you 50,000, 100,000, and that you have to pay back within 7 days with a very small interest. Now, as soon as the 7 days hit and you mistakenly don't pay, then they start hounding you. The first thing they do is they now determine what the next interest will be. And usually the interest rate changes at will. And when you ask them, they say you have already signed it. Interests are subject to change without consideration. So it starts going on. So what this guy now does is he goes to another loan shark to get money at a cheaper interest to block the first one. When the second one now asks, he'll go to a third one. Before we could call Jack Robinson, he was already in the net of about 15 loan sharks. And he also had developed the habit of using that money to solve any and every problem. Now these people now send notes and messages to everyone, to his employer, to his church, to his friend, and to his fiancé. That was the one that hit him the most. The fiancé got to know and broke the engagement. The employer got to know and sacked him. So now you lost on two different fronts, because the fiancé was like, what did you get the money for? He couldn't even explain what he got the money for. So that's a red flag. I don't want to get into this, because if I marry you, that's the same way you're going to get us into trouble. The employer thought that we are a retail outfit. We make money on a daily basis. That means I can't trust you. Once you get tight, you're going to dip your hands into the cash registry, and that's going to be a problem. So staying in debt is not a good thing for anyone. So we continue our discourse today, but today I'm going to be sharing with you the practical steps you need to take to get yourself out of debt. The number one thing, I know you won't like this, but I'm still going to say it: make a budget. Budget. I said make a budget. Why do I need to make a budget if I want to stay out of debt? Yes. Getting a budget is one structured way to let you know how much comes into you and how you are spending it. I keep asking people, how much fuel do you buy in a month? They don't know. How much do you spend on electricity bill? They don't know. How much do you spend on water? They don't know. They don't know anything. Yet they are in debt. I said, you will continue to be in debt. Because if you ask yourself certain questions, you'll be able to say, oh, this is where my tap is leaking. That means I earn 200,000 and I buy 50,000 naira card for electricity. That's 1/3 of my income. Then you have to decide, do I need to take out some lights, change to LED lights, maybe invest some money in solar and batteries, and then reduce some things? Do I need to put off my freezer overnight? But a budget is like a mirror that shows you how your financial status is. And when you're making a budget, it's important for you to have or know how to make a zero-based budget. What is a zero-based budget? It's a budget where your income and your expense cancels each other out. So if you want to make a zero-based budget, the first thing you need to do is list your monthly income. What's your monthly income? Is the amount that comes into you on a monthly basis. Sometimes what comes to us is more than the salary that we earn. There are some freebies. There are some things you get as fringe benefit from your employment. It's important for you to add it. You know why? Let me tell you a story. A lady was working with one of the big oil companies in Nigeria, and whenever they need to go for meetings from Lagos to Abuja, they would always charter a private jet. So when she resigned from the company and she started working on her own, she needed to have a meeting in Abuja, and she told her personal assistant to book a flight, and the personal assistant booked a business class in a regular flight. That's when she got to the airport. I'm like, what are we flying? He said, yes, this is it. He said, no, this is not what we fly when he said, yes, ma'am. There was an arrangement with that company, that very big company, with the airline, and so the private jet was given to them almost at nothing. But for this one, if, let's put a figure to it, if the cost of flying the business class to Abuja was 250,000, the private jet was going to cost like 2.something million. She said, what? So sometimes the benefits that we get from a company that we're working for is part of the things we need to evaluate before you quit and say, oh no, I give them my resignation letter. Count your costs and know what exactly you're getting. So list your monthly income, every kobo, every naira. Put it down. The next thing, list your monthly expense. Let giving be part of your expense. Let savings be part of your expense. There are 4 pillars that must be in your expense. That is your food, your utilities, your shelter, your transportations. What are those 4 pillars? Food, utilities, shelter, transportation. So is that your mortgage or your rent? Your transportation is either how much you're spending, commuting, paying on buses or taxis, or how much you spend on your car, your servicing, your fueling your car, or whatever. I was speaking to one civil servant who told me she lives in Lekki and she has to commute to Alausa, and she says she takes an Uber. I said, excuse me? And I asked her, do you have a sugar daddy or is your father very rich? Because I don't know how you can take an Uber to the office every day and back on your salary. She is a graduate, postgraduate, 5 years. So I know definitely she will be on level 9, max 10. How much are you earning? She is not living within a salary. So she needs to answer, who is funding that expense? So because you can't escape your food, your utilities, and then you're working, you're earning 500,000 and you buy food every day. How much does it cost? Let's put it in your budget and your transportation. Then other essentials in your expense. Are you a parent? Do you pay school fees? Hospital bills? It has to be in your expense column. Insurance, pension, expense column, tax, expense column. You have to put it there. Also extras, entertainment for your family. It has to be in the expense column. Yeah, entertainment will include your eating out, fun times, taking your children to the park, expense column. Also, are you one of those that your family, you go for vacation every year? It depends. Maybe you go for vacation every year, and what you do is, once is April, you start thinking about July. You just say, where are we going? Mauritius, we're going to Hawaii, or we're going to Barcelona, wherever you're going to, and you start looking for the ticket. No, you have to decide, how much will our annual vacation cost? Put it as your expense. So sometimes your budget can be monthly or yearly budget. Put it there. So don't also forget your miscellaneous category. So you need to put there. So you're putting your budget, you're putting your income, and you're putting your expense. If I'm too fast, sorry, I'm not opening the phone line, so I can't tell you to stop me. I'm taking it slow now. I said the number one thing you need to do is have a budget. And to be able to have a zero budget, you need to do this. List all your monthly income or annual income. List all your monthly or annual expense. Now, number 3, subtract your expense from your income to equal 0. Where you have surplus in terms of income, increase your savings, increase some things, But at the end of the day, a zero balance is what you must have. That is the beginning of healthy practice in staying out of debt. And what the budget will do to you is it will help you to see, it will give you a clear picture of where you are at financially. It will also let you see your tilt. If you show me your budget, I will tell you what your preferences are. I will tell you what your priorities are. I will tell you what your association is, and I will tell you where you're likely to be in the next 5-10 years. So it's important. Some things are predictable in life. So you don't just become something overnight. It follows a predictable pattern. So it will give us predictable expectation. So number one is have a budget. Number two, increase your income. When you discover how much you are spending and how much you want to spend, the next thing for you to do to be able to stay out of debt is to increase your income. As a 9-to-5 person, there are two ways you can increase your income. First, look for something to do part-time. In Lagos, we don't do 9 to 5. Probably do something like maybe 6 to 9. But even when you get home at 9, you want to steal 2 hours for something that you can do for yourself. There are few things you can do now. People are learning some data science, data analysis. They're looking for things they can do abroad and they can have some extra income. You can look at that possibility. You can look at how to improve your own skills so that you can increase your income. So you can also start a small business on your side. That, okay, your weekend, what do you do with it? What can you trade? So these are little things you can do to increase your income. Because one thing is, if you want to stay above debt, what you're spending must be below what you're earning. So if what you are earning is too small, the only way, the antidote to that is increase what comes in. Because there's a limit to how far you can bring down the quality of your life. You can't go below zero. So you need to increase your income. Number three, once you have looked at your income and your expense, you need to do what I call sell off your liabilities. There was someone, a brother was traveling and gave this person a Mercedes Benz. You gave a Mercedes Benz to someone who is earning 200,000 a month. I think that is obvious way to drain the man's pocket. A Mercedes Benz is a luxury car. If your car is using run flat tires, the average cost of a tire, of that tire in Nigeria, is about 350,000 naira. If you're going to change the 4 tires, I don't even know how much it costs now with the exchange rate. You're going to change the 4 tires for about 1.4 million. How are you going to do that when you're earning 200,000 a month? So if your brother is traveling and gives you his Mercedes Benz, tell him, I hope there's no condition to this gift. As soon as he's flying in the airport, go and sell it. And if you have need for a car, it's already your plan to buy a car, convert that money and use it to buy a Toyota, a Honda, a Mazda, a good Japanese car that is fuel efficient and the parts are available. Very, very important. So sell off liabilities. Anything that keeps draining money from your pocket and does not give you any form of comfort. A man with 200,000 driving a Mercedes Benz is called suffering and smiling. Don't do it. There's some of you living in apartments that are bigger than you. You may need to downsize. That is liability. Cut it down. Oh, you don't like to share, because another way is to share. You're living in a 3-bedroom apartment. You sleep in only one room. You want to get in someone to share. If you don't want to do that, then go to a smaller apartment. I'm going to say this one more thing before we go on a short break. Deal with your credit cards. Now, in Nigeria, we have started. The credit card system is creeping in gradually. Prepare for it ahead of time. Don't go and take money and spend it on frivolities. If you take credit for something, use it for that thing and follow the terms and conditions. When you're getting a credit facility, there are always the tiny prints, and those tiny prints can get you into trouble. It's important for you to know that. We'll continue this conversation after the short break. Remember, this is Family Today with Funmi Johnson. I'm committed to your well-being, and anything that would disrupt the balance of the family would also affect your unity as husband and wife. So, and even if you're a young person, you want to build your credit history now, because you'll be a liability to your spouse in the future if you don't take care of it. For more on what I'm talking about, remember to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, X, Funmi Johnson. And we're going to have this recording also posted. We'll continue after the short break.
Paul says it is better for a single man to marry than to burn. Are you single, married, widowed, separated, or divorced? Join me on Family Today.
Family Today with Funmi Johnson is one program that will bring you in alignment with who you truly are and open your mind to how you rock your significant interpersonal relationships while sidestepping the landmines, culture, religion, and society have laid in your path. Family Today with Funmi Johnson goes where others are shy to go and shines the light in the dark corners others have forgotten. Tune in at 11:30 a.m. every Friday to listen to Family Today with Funmi Johnson on Inspiration 92.3 FM.
You are welcome. So if you already are in a credit card or you already have some debt, there's a snowball method to harmonize the debts and get out of it quickly. How do you do that? List all your debts from smallest to largest, regardless of what interest rate it has. Then attack the smallest debt with a vengeance. Like if you have a debt of 1 million, then you have a debt of 5 million, and you have a debt of 17.5 million. Make up your mind, depending on your income, that you will crush that 1 million debt. So you have a list of 4 debts. You hit the lowest one. It gives you a form of comfort that, now I was owing James, John, Janet, and June. So I've paid Jane off. So there are only 3 J's left. So hit the lowest one, attack it, put a start to finish date and finish it. A sense of accomplishment can be a form of reinforcement to you and will encourage you to move on to the next one. Then the next thing is, once you pay off the smallest debt, take the same payment and apply it to the next one. So that way you finish the 1 million, then go on to the 5 million and start doing it. Like I said at the beginning of this, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with what? The first step. Then you keep repeating this method until you finish. Whilst you're doing that, it depends on you're owing. Keep in touch with your creditor. Keep in touch with your creditor. Sometimes you're owing someone, you don't call the person, they call you, you don't pick the phone, you're just digging your grave. Even the Bible says, when your adversary is taking you to the court, say do everything you can before the person takes you there. Because when he takes you there, they will collect all the money and they can still even put you in jail. So don't play smart. Shun your creditor, go and bribe police against them. Don't do that. You'll be breaking a spiritual principle. So we're talking about how to get out of debt. I say first thing, you should have a budget. Then I said you should increase your income. Number 3, sell off liabilities. Number 4, deal with credit cards, all the debts you already have now. Number 5, resolve to use less of plastic. Say, what do I mean by that? Okay, how many of you listening to me have a debit card? Most of us, we have. So what we do is, when we want to pay, we always just swipe. Sometimes we over swipe. So if you are already struggling with debt, you may need to pay cash for some things. When you're going to a place, you make up your mind that I'm going to spend 20,000. So even if the thing comes to 21,000, I'm not going over and above it. So that's when I say resolve to pay cash instead of using plastic. So in Nigeria, if it's a debit card you're using, even though you're still using your card, you already put a peg to how much. Or you have a utility account where when you're going out, you transfer money from one account into that other account, and you say, in this account, this is how much we're going to spend, and I will not go beyond it. I call it the envelope system. In those days when we do with only cash, you put how much you want to spend in an envelope and you don't go above it. When we go to parties, especially in Nigeria where we spray money, now they are catching people for spray money anyway. You already have changed the 20,000 you want to spray. Then the praise singer that start calling your name. Start calling your name, and you say to yourself, Then you now go to the money changers. They will be dangling the new notes before you like this. They go to the money changers and you now change more money. You just swipe the credit card. Don't do that. Stick to what you have planned to spend and don't exceed it. And also, for those of us that are family people, your wife, your husband, your children should be part of the process. Let them know that you have made mistakes in the past and we are in debt. And so we have to cut down some things. There's a couple who was living abroad and the child was in the private school. But things got so tight that they had to move the child away from the private school to a public school. But what they did was they had to also remove themselves from where they were living. They deliberately went to get a house near a good environment where the grammar schools, they had good ratings and good reputation. So they had to do some explaining to the child why they had to change the school and the neighborhood, and said, okay, whatever you are missing, the extra things you get in the private school, we would pay for clubs and some other things that would give you that as well. So include your children in the process of getting out of debt. They may have to shrink or adjust some lifestyle things, because if you don't tell them and you don't carry them along, you can go deeper and deeper in debt. So changing your children's school, augmenting some things, reducing some things that you're doing. Like, also, I remember sometimes some years back, we had a business that went bad, and we always eat out every Sunday. It was just a family tradition. And that thing hit so bad, not that we changed it to once a month, we stopped totally. For like a whole year, it was really, really tough. The only good thing that year was like we had paid our children's school fees. That particular year, the school our children were attending gave an option and said, if you pay the tuition upfront, we'll give you 10% discount. And we're like, oh, we can take advantage of that. So we paid. That was what saved us. That would have been terrible. We paid the tuition for our 3 children in advance 1 year. So whilst we were going through the rough time, we did not owe the school fees nor the house rent, because both of them had been paid in advance. The only thing now were the daily expenses. So what did we do? We would go and buy jello and buy ice cream and try to make a Sunday at home, something to just have fun. Fortunately, we had a big compound. We had table tennis, we had basketball, we had then inflatable swimming pool. We tried to create as much fun as we could within the home, because we let them know we are hanging on a balance and nothing must steal. So include your children in the process so that you let them know you're living on a budget, or maybe you're saving towards a vacation. We let them know, should we spend this money or put it in that targeted savings, and we'll be able to all go to Dubai. And they will tell you, okay, so if you say, let's eat this, Dubai. So the delayed gratification is something that all the children will be part of. I'm talking about how to stay afloat. Another thing you need to do is cut coupons. I remember when, I don't know if we do a lot of that here, whenever you go shopping, next thing they'll just give you a coupon slip and say, oh, for your next purchase, you can get 50% off. What they are saying is they want to tie you to that shop. If you don't need anything there, don't go there. If you find someone that needs, then you can. Don't force yourself to go and buy something that you have not already pre-budgeted for. Like someone told me now, oh, they're moving house, they want to sell off all the things in the house. Do you want to buy those things, or you're buying it because you see it as cheap? If you don't need it, don't buy it. You don't have to. So it's important for you to not stick yourself to a freebies, buy one, get one free. Do you need to buy 2? Did you have such plan? It is a way for the marketing company to increase their sales and to put you into more debt. So it's very, very important. Another thing you can do is, you don't have to buy everything new. I call it contingency shopping. You can buy some things pre-owned. It doesn't mean anything. It does not mean anything. Just know exactly what you are buying pre-owned. So be wise. Also, in your utilities, remember I said there are some things that are essentials. Utilities, are there some things you need to cut? I told you the story of this woman who was paying premium for the cable, and the premium will include sports bouquet and all the other things. And why? She doesn't even watch television. The person she bought the cable for was the grandma who only watches Telemundo and African Magic. There's a smaller bouquet that can accommodate that. That will be less than 25% of the premium bouquet. Cut that cost there. So check whatever you are spending money on that is maximum. You don't need that premium facility. Some of you, when your children left home, whatever they are using, you don't need anymore. Don't keep paying that recurrent bill. Another thing is regulate how you're eating out. Restaurants are also in levels. There are some restaurants, if 4 people go there, you're going to spend like 100K. Some you're going to spend like 300. Don't just go to any restaurant. Cut your coat according to the size of your fabric. And then there's some restaurant you like the ambience, or you want to have some business meeting there. You don't eat there. You just take their drink. Take their drink and a few finger food, and then you go home and eat your full food But if you're going to eat there, it may cost you an arm and a foot that you may not be able to afford. What else can you do? Do a meal plan. Plan your shopping, plan your meals. You want to eat something, already you can pre-buy those things where it's cheaper for what you want to do. But you want to eat it right now. So you just go to your nearest supermarket and buy your shrimps, buy your these at the premium price. Because you have planned that this meal is going to cost us 20,000. And if you buy the things where you're living at, it's going to be 25,000. Why don't you buy them some other place that can cost you less? So when you pre-plan your meals, it makes it easier and cheaper. And then shop with a shopping list. When you're going to the supermarket, because all the aisles are above or at your eye view, so you're looking at all the things. Don't just let your eyes deceive you. Take your shopping list and the things you have earmarked that you need to buy, except of course there'll be one or two things that you probably forgot. Let it be that is an essential that you need. Since the dollar rate went up, people have become innovative. Usually you will use pine sol, fabuloso. Maybe now they have told us to use cloves and lemon and vinegar, and then you still get the fragrance and put some scents in it, and the house will still be smelling fine and the ants will still be kept away. Be innovative. Another thing is discuss with your employee. If things have gone out of hand and you know that you're a good staff and they are not thinking about your well-being, talk about your well-being. Sir, I know you've been good to me. I've been good to you too. I've been good to you too. Have you thought about a raise in this regard? Or can you give me some concessions? Maybe you resume at 7:30 or 8:30 and that's a peak period. And that time, transportation is a bit higher than if you resume at 9. Can I resume a little later so that I avoid the traffic rush, which consumes my fuel by X? It's important for you to know at different ways that you can get some respite. And then another thing, learn to say no. Say no to some things. If you like Ashwabi, go ahead. If you don't like it, say no when they bring it. People will make you feel bad and say, oh, that's how they do it. It's also said to them, I cannot afford it. But if you give it to me free, maybe I manage to get the tailor. But I don't think I want to invest in this. If the father of your friend dies, I think supporting the person with that unexpected expense is more important than helping them to go and buy a shwebi that will not benefit them. I don't know. Just learn to say no. And then you can also look at things in your house that you don't need, that you want to sell off. Then what about, we do all these 30 days challenge, 15 days challenge. You can do a 1 week challenge of not spending anything and see what it looks like and see what difference it makes to you. Another thing is, like I said, when you're doing your expense, make sure you make giving a priority, because giving breaks the backbone of greed and stinginess, selfishness and all that. And giving actually makes the world go round. I say this phrase, for God so loved the world that he gave, and we so love God that we give. It's important for you to make giving a habit, not so that you can get in return, but because it frees your mind. It makes you a partaker, a co-worker with God to make the world a better place. It also breaks the backbone of stinginess in your life. Make giving a budget. Budget a fraction of your income as what you want to give, and ask God to lead you as you give. And finally, I'll stop here. Find accountability. It depends on who you're married to. Most couples have savers and spenders, so it depends. But if both of you cannot balance your money habit, find an accountability partner outside. I said, I want to improve the quality of my spending. I want to be a rich person at a certain time. I want to walk towards it. And then that financial advisor can tell you certain things you need to do, certain things you need to add to what you're doing to be able to take you to a better place. Like I said, God expects us to have self-discipline. And the way your journey to financial freedom starts with that self-discipline. 1, don't spend more than what you earn. 2, there is delayed gratification. 3, don't go and invest in business that you don't know anything about. All those get rich quick syndrome, they will get you into trouble. 4, slow and steady win the race. Go slowly, deliberately, intentionally, and you will get there. And make savings a habit, that once you're doing that, when the opportunity comes for you to invest, you will see the right thing to invest. If you have more questions, send it to me on DM. I will see what I can do to answer it. And remember to keep following me, and then we'll talk more about this. See you again, same time next week.
Family Today with Funmi Johnson is powered by the Capstone Church Without Walls.